Welcome to TYRO TV. I'm Ron TYRO.
And I'm Cathy TYRO. And for those of you that don't know who we are, Ron and I are the co-founders of the Ridge Project and the co-creators of TYRO.
TYRO is a Latin word which means apprentice, novice, someone learning something new, a warrior.
And when we think about warrior, what we're talking about is someone that knows how to war for their legacy, for their home, become a leader in their home, their community, and their workplace.
So what are you fighting for? What are we talking about? Fighting for what Cathy just said. Your family, your community, your state, and even your nation. You know, in a way that's honorable, that's of good character, that really sets you apart from just being a thug mentality, right? Having that thug mentality, because that's not what we're talking about.
Right.
Here.
We're talking about establishing a great reputation and fighting to hang on to that. And see, Ron and I know exactly what that takes. We know exactly what that's like because we did 15 years in prison. Ron doing time on the inside, well, the kids and I did the time on the outside.
And I tell you what, from growing up in a penitentiary setting, and we got to be really real, right? So prior to me being incarcerated, we were already incarcerated. We were incarcerated mentally, we were emotionally, spiritually, and even financially. We could not get ahead. We could not move forward. We couldn't even get along because we couldn't move ahead because we couldn't move. You know, everything in our life, our relationship,
chaos.
Our relationship was incarcerated, right? And there wasn't there a TV show called that? Arrested Development. What is that called?
Yeah,
right?
Arrested Development.
That was us.
Yep, that's right. That's true.
We could not develop. We could not evolve. We could not grow in maturity because we had locked ourselves up. We were arrested.
So, but out of our own experience, we created TYRO. And part of TYRO is TYRO TV. And our desire, our passion is to help you overcome every obstacle in front of you so that you can achieve your greatest success.
So, yes, we are experts in our field. And we growing up in the penitentiary, from welfare dependency, from the entitlement mentality, thinking that just because we're who we are and where we're at, people owe us, you know, and that we want to debunk that myth. You know, just because you're 6 feet tall, just because you were born in that family, just because you were born on the other side of the tracks, nobody owes us anything, right? And today we're going to talk about a really, really sensitive subject, right? And some people might give us pushback on it, but there's value to this subject. There's a wealth of knowledge to this subject because this will set you apart and this will help you get ahead in life.
For sure. So today what we're talking about is working for free.
Woo!
And if you're wondering what we mean by
F
that,
word,
that's
right?
right, the big F word,
Free.
F-R-E-E. When we come back, we're going to tell you exactly what we mean by that. So stay tuned. You don't want to miss this. We'll be right back.
TYRO Dads will help you to see who you really are on the inside by coming to terms with your past, present, and future. You'll begin to move forward by using your time on the inside to transform yourself. We know you're not the only one serving time. Your family is too. Overcoming the issues that existed prior to and during incarceration are often more than what many families can survive. TYRO Dads has a unique method of reaching and healing families based on Ron and Catherine TYRO's own personal experiences. TYRO Dads works exclusively with incarcerated fathers who have minor children. The program lasts for 10 weeks and focuses on intensive character development. You'll be taught to take responsibility for your actions. To own it, you'll be prepared to overcome the obstacles of incarceration and transition back into your home and community, both successfully and permanently. Upon successful completion of this program, you will earn the title of TYRO, which means a warrior, someone learning something new. You will be one of the honored, a man worth following. If you think you have what it takes to be a TYRO, or you want to know more, contact your local project facilitator or your institution staff.
Welcome back to TYRO TV. I'm Ron TYRO.
And I'm Cathy TYRO.
And today we're going to talk about a subject, why you want to work for
free.
Woo!
F-R-E-E, free.
You know, and we think about that, and I know you know, our time is valuable, right? And we don't
The most valuable thing we have is our time.
Is our time, and because you can't get that back.
Right.
Right, you can't get that back. But why would anybody who's coming out of prison want to work for free? I mean, that's...
Right. Because you need money and you need to pay your bills. And there's value in what it is you're contributing. So why in the world would you work for free?
You know, and I encourage people all the time, you know, when they get out there applying for jobs, but they can't get a job, they got setbacks. Because one of the things that employers are looking for, you know, what does it mean to work for free? It means that you're willing to do things that maybe other people don't want to do.
maybe
right?
to reestablish your reputation. So what we're really talking about is volunteering. And that means finding a place where you can contribute, where you're going to learn new skills, you're going to make new connections, and you're going to be able to exhibit how good of a worker you are, how hard of a worker you are, how willing you are to learn new things, how quickly you can learn new things and implement them. This is invaluable when you think about wanting to be successful. Look around and think about all the successful people you know. Every single one of them volunteers. They probably started volunteering before they ever even got a real job when they were young, and they've continued to volunteer throughout their lives. So if you establish a path where you are volunteering, you are rebuilding your reputation.
So when you're working for free, what are you trying to do? Not only are you reestablishing yourself in your community, but you're building your reputation. And that's really key, because you're going to need somebody. What does it mean to volunteer? Somebody can trust you. Because if you're volunteering, listen, in the real world, volunteer hours, the company that say you're volunteering for a nonprofit, and you go in there and you're going to give your time, they're documenting your time as if you were getting paid. Because that benefits the nonprofit. That benefits them to show that they got volunteers coming in. And this is really crucial. So you are valuable even when you're working for free. Because technically, to them, yes, to you're giving of yourself, but when they document it for their reports and stuff like that, they're not only putting your the word volunteer, but volunteer hours, because they're audited based upon that. They're getting checked. Did people volunteer for you? Did they do that? So it's a win-win for everybody.
Right. So I remember when I was trying to establish my reputation, I was trying to prove that, I'm going to be a good worker, I'm going to be reliable. And it was like I was having a hard time finding a job because the hours didn't fit with the hours that I had the kids. I was trying to go visit Ron. And so I thought, let me start to volunteer. So I started volunteering at a local church. I did everything I could. If they needed somebody to teach Sunday school, I taught Sunday school. If they needed somebody to help with the summer program, to cut things out, to post folders, whatever it was. And the Humane Society, it was like, okay, what are the things I like? I like kids and I like animals. So then I began to volunteer at the Humane Society. Well, as I did that, it was amazing. I began to meet people that were very successful. We started talking about, well, what are your interests? These are my interests. And then they started telling me things like, hey, I know somebody that's hiring. Let me put in a good word for you. But what was it that I was getting out of it? I was getting out of a few things. When we talk about volunteering, we'll talk more about, why it's so important later. But when we talk about volunteering, becoming a volunteer is one of the cornerstones of becoming a successful citizen.
Because if you're not willing to volunteer, then no one is going to, you're asking people to take you at your word, right? But you got to build a reputation up front. And by willing to volunteer and show yourself, put yourself out there, you're not expecting to get paid, but you're looking for somebody to co-sign for you. You want to start practicing. Now watch this, because if you're incarcerated, right? You guys are locked up. So everything that you're practicing in there that you're learning is really all theory.
Right.
Right? You want to know
Even
if
if
it
you
works.
do volunteerism inside prison, it doesn't carry as much weight out
Right.
as it does out here.
So what you're doing inside the penitentiary, you're preparing yourself for when you hit the streets. And practice makes permanent where we come from, right, Tyros? Practice makes permanent. So when you're taking the abilities and the gifts now and the things you've learned and the discipline you've been practicing inside the prison, when you take that to the community, and how easy this is going to transfer in there, because when you get up, if you get up in prison without being told by the guard, boom, and you go start doing something early in the morning, all your days begin. You know what your progress, you got your purpose in mind, you have your plan set, and when you get out, you're going to practice the same things and you're going to get it done. And people will begin to recognize and see you. So when they need somebody, guess who they're calling? They're calling you.
And it doesn't just have to be, when we think about volunteerism, Ron talked about volunteering for a nonprofit. I talked about a couple nonprofits that I volunteered for. But it doesn't have to be just like that organized. You can volunteer by looking around and seeing what the needs are in your community. You can volunteer by picking up the trash in the park, by showing up down there and repairing something, just a hammer and some nails and fixing the park bench. You can volunteer by going across the street to that single mom's house and mowing her yard without asking, without bothering her, without expecting pay. Whatever it is, things that you can do that are contributing, that are going to rebuild your reputation. That's what we're talking about. Why on earth would you work for free? Because it's an investment in your future.
So we come back, we're going to talk about why volunteerism is so essential to your success.
So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Playing catch, basketball, laughing, and enjoying each other's company. These are all normal things on the outside, but many times are missed in a visitation setting. TYRO Dads brings the same fun experience to the inside through Family Days. As a TYRO Dad, you have the opportunity to participate in this fantastic event. Family Day is designed to allow fathers and families to engage with each other through activities designed to stimulate communication, learning, and play. Family Days will not only be a highlight for you, but for your children as well. The Ridge Project has strategically developed Family Day as an opportunity to help you connect with your child throughout your separation and help both of you develop skills to continue building your relationship when you return home.
Welcome back to TYRO TV. I'm Ron TYRO.
And I'm Cathy TYRO, and today we're talking about working for free.
Working for free. In
Which
other
is so
words,
much better than working for food, right?
oh man, I'm telling you, man. You know what? That's a great point.
We'll
You know,
work for
when
food.
we travel and we're driving through towns, Cleveland, Columbus, Dayton, Cincinnati, we see signs up there, and they're not even saying work for food.
Right.
They just say, give me food.
Give me money.
Give me money. And maybe it's legit. Maybe, I don't know what the situation is.
Right.
But they look pretty healthy to me. A lot of the people that I'm seeing physically healthy. Just from looking at and I'm not trying to judge them or like that. But I know.
But they're establishing
Yeah.
a different reputation than what you want to establish as you transition home. So when we think about, you've got, why is it so important? We talked about a little bit about your reputation will precede you. So if you are, hey, I'll work for a donation, that's not the same as working for free. When we talk about volunteering, we talk about working for free, that means giving all that you have and expecting nothing in return. As a matter of fact, rejecting any offer of something in return, except for if it's a different opportunity. That means if I go over and I rake all of the leaves in the widow's yard and she comes out and tries to give me $20, what do I say to her?
No, thank you.
Oh, no, really, I want to give you this $20.
No, listen.
Please take this
no.
$20.
I just wanted to it was my pleasure to do that for you. Thank you for allowing me to do that for you.
If you don't take this money, I can never let you help me again.
You know what? I am so sorry, but I'm not taking your money. I'm volunteering my services for you. That's what
And sometimes I'll say, you know what? If you really feel like you need to give $20, why don't you donate it to a charity of your choice,
that's a good
right?
idea, yep.
And just let somebody else be blessed the way that I was blessed.
Now
by
this is
helping
gonna be tough, guys, because you need money, right?
Right.
You're on the streets. But listen, what you're doing is you're establishing a different type of hope. Why is this important? Because somebody's gonna call that widower, that lady, and say, hey, he put your name down that he helped you, and he's applying for a job here, and we want to make sure that he's who he says he is. So would you recommend him to work? Man, the accolades and the trumpet sounding that she's gonna give, of course we would hire him. Of course you want that guy. Let me tell you what he did for me. And he did it for free, and he wouldn't even take any money. Listen, when people are vouching for you, when people are talking great things about you, you can't put a price on that.
That's right.
You cannot put
That's
money
worth so
on that.
much more than $20. Now, that volunteering, let's go back to the leaf raking thing. So if you're raking the leaves,
Right.
you're volunteering, you're doing it, you're helping out this lady, and then you decide, hey, you know what? I noticed that there's like all of these other houses down the street that need their leaves raked. Let me go over there and I'll knock on the door, and I will not volunteer for the other houses. I'm going to say, hey, I charge $10 an hour. I charge $15 or I charge $50 a job. And if they say, well, I don't know, you see Mrs. Greenler's yard down there? I do that. Wow, really?
Yep.
Absolutely. So now, like, the investment first is in your own character. Secondly, it's in the life of the person that you're helping or the organization. Thirdly, it's in your community.
Yep.
And fourthly, it's in your opportunities is what you're investing in.
Let me share a story. I just learned this story, and it's Dallas, Texas, and they have a transportation company that takes their clients, their TYROs, and everybody that they serve to where they got to go, and so mainly the class. So this guy will go around and pick up people at their homes to bring them to the TYRO Champion Center in Dallas, Texas, and also helps get them to work if that's what they want. So he charges a fee, right? But let me tell you about this gentleman. This gentleman, prior to doing that, was homeless, and so he got involved with Anthem Strong Families, which is located in Dallas, Texas, which delivered the TYRO program. But he was homeless, and he's never been incarcerated, but he knows a lot of people in prison, all that. But he's poor, right? He's living in poverty. But what he did was he saw a need. So at first he said, you know what? I'll just go ahead and I got a vehicle. I'll take him. So he went from just volunteering to starting his own transportation company.
Because he
Right.
built a reputation of being reliable, predictable, on time, dependable, a person of honor, a person that was trustworthy, and he built that by investing in his future opportunities. So why is it so important to volunteer? It's so important to volunteer because you are investing in your future opportunities. You know what? Say that with me. I'm investing in my future opportunities.
How's it go?
I'm investing in my future opportunities. And that is really, and then as you become more and more successful, the fulfillment that you get out of volunteering, you're never going to want to give that up. You'll be like, now I'm investing for somebody else's future opportunities. And there's nothing better than that.
So why is this important? It's about your future. Why is this important? You want to create a legacy that people can talk about and people can follow. Why is this important? Because all eyes are on you and your kids. Come on, TYRO dads. Your children are watching you to see how you behave and how you become that role model for them in their lives. Because when you're empowered to volunteer, that's contagious. That's contagious. And then when they see the joy of you of giving back and not literally taking things in return for it, but you know what your ROI is going to be. Your reputation is going to be solid. People are going to be talking great about you, and they're going to be inviting you to the next reindeer game, right?
That's right. Because you have rebuilt your reputation. You've established a place for you in your community, and it's a place of value where you're contributing value and no longer extracting value. That's a big deal, especially if you have a history of extracting value and causing pain in your community. When you flip that switch, it will be so much easier for you to reintegrate in every other area. It's easier to get a job. It's easier to keep a job. It's easier to get help and ask for help when you need help with something, because they're like, oh yeah, I see Johnny. He's all the time out there helping other people. I will gladly go help him fix his porch. But if you don't, if it's all about you, it's me, myself, and I, and what's in it for me all the time, that's what you're going to get right back.
And you got to really have the sense, and this is a whole new attitude we're talking about.
Yeah.
You know, this is not an entitlement mentality. This is you giving of yourself, giving your time. And you know what? Maybe they don't pat you on the back. Maybe you don't get no recognition at the beginning for your volunteer services. That's okay. You got to build yourself all the way up. You got to build your name. You're rebuilding your name by just showing up and showing out, right? Right, so I want to encourage you to do that. Just show up and show out.
That's absolutely right. So we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk about how. How do you actually get connected and begin? We touched on it a little bit in this segment, but we're going to really break it down for you, so stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Dear son, it's been hard these last few years, watching you grow up without me in the picture. Never taking the time to find out how you were or what was going on in your life. You're just a boy, I thought. You don't need me. I didn't need my dad. He was never around, I told myself. But I was wrong, son. I'm supposed to be a grown man. I was selfish. I was stupid. I was thinking of me, not you. If I could go back, son, and change things, I would. It's taken me all this time being selfish to finally grow up and realize I need to be a responsible man. That's what I finally learned, not from prison, but the TYRO program. It's all about becoming a better, stronger man. Wish I would have gotten it sooner. Everything looks different to me now. I'm a changed person. I know I need to be there for you now. It's not about me anymore. It's not about being cool. It's not about who I run with. It's about Mom. It's about you. It's about being a better man, learning something new in my life. It's about being a TYRO. a man worth following. I'm your dad. You're my son, and I love you. I am a TYRO. I'm a TYRO. Dad.
If you think you have what it takes to be a TYRO or just want to know more, contact your local Ridge Project facilitator or your caseworker.
Welcome back to TYRO TV. I'm Ron TYRO.
And I'm Cathy TYRO.
And today we're talking about the big F word, right?
Free.
Free, right? Working for free or becoming a volunteer. I know that's really hard to hear for you because you're going to need a license, you got to go hustle, and you got to get a job and all that type of stuff. And some of you are going to be tempted even to go back in the dope game and do all that. But stay away from that. Man, let me tell you about it. We're going to talk about how to volunteer and why it's important, because Cathy said earlier about reinventing yourself and reestablishing relationships and everything else about that. But really what you're doing is you're reinvesting. You're reinvesting because for a while there, somebody else took care of you. Now it's time to give back. Right?
Absolutely. And as you give back, it's important to know that your kids are watching you and they're learning what it means to be a contributing citizen. They're learning what it means to be successful in their community and in their workplace and in their family by giving back, by working to help other people. That is a really, really important attribute to learn, especially when you're young, because it will carry you through. So now we're going to talk about how. Because there are a couple of mistakes that we watch people make. And so one is that they never ever volunteer because, you know, what's in it for me? And they don't see the return on the value. They don't see the investment they're making. Or number two, they overcommit in volunteering and it causes them to not be able to be successful in home and in their workplace. And so those are two major things that we're going to help you avoid: undercommitting and overcommitting.
So the question is, how do you become a volunteer? You just show up, knock on the door. There are so many agencies out there looking for somebody. Can you help take the garbage out? Can you help take care of their yard? Can you help work with our landscape? Can you, you know what? Here's something that, can you wash people's cars? You know, vacuum them out. You know, I mean, there's so many things. If you're at an agency, people are so busy and maybe there's not a job opening yet.
Right.
But this is what happens. One of the ROIs is because you were the one showing up and you were the one volunteering, when a job comes open, guess who they're going to think of first?
I think about you.
They're going to think about you because you showed up and you were volunteering. One of the things that we challenge some of the guys who may be in construction, and maybe it might be hard to get in the construction field because you have a felony or whatever. If you can go up to that foreman and you can show him, look, you let me work for 48 hours for free. You ain't got to pay me. And if you don't like the way I work, right? Or if you don't like my attitude or my whatever it is, if you don't like anything, I'll walk off. You tell me, you know what, you got to go. But if you like what I do, you not only pay me for those 2 days, but you hire me. You know, and that's the challenge, you know. Can you do that? Maybe it's 24 hours. Let me work for you for a day. If you don't like the way I perform, no skin off my back. I gave it my best. You don't like me, I'll go.
Right. And that's like the next step. Because when we're talking about volunteering, we're talking about how to do it. We're talking about literally, you're not really looking for a job there. It's great if it opens up, but not when we talk about doing the construction for free. We're talking about showing up at the Humane Society and petting the cats and the dogs.
Yeah, good clarification.
Right?
Thank you for that.
And so if there's something you really like, so when we think about how, what are things you're good at? And what are things you like to do? Those are the two really important things, because you don't want to just contribute to somebody else, but you also want to enjoy what you're doing, because then you'll keep doing it. So if you are terrible at construction and you see that a bunch of people are getting together to rehab somebody's house, okay, show up and say, okay, I don't know how to use a hammer. I don't know how to use a drill. I don't know how to hang drywall, but what can I do? Oh yeah, I can totally put things in trash bags,
bin,
right? And I can totally encourage people, and I can bring them water, and I can make sure that they keep going, and I can tell you when people are leaving and coming. There are a ton of other things you can do.
You know, the word that comes to me right now is don't despise small beginnings. Don't despise that. Even though you might be the one bringing them water, maybe you're the one who's making sure that they got food there. Maybe you're the one who's moving things, and you're just doing some entry level positioning work. It's okay. You're learning as you grow, right? You're learning while you're there too. You're watching what's being done. So study your environment. You know, if you go to a nursing home and you just volunteer to read to the people in these places, they will love you for that. They will talk about you. They will point when they say, well, who is it that's bringing you joy? They will point the finger at you. They're bringing me joy. They're helping me go through this experience because you showed up and you volunteered. right? You showed up and you volunteered.
So remember though, you have to have limits. So you don't want to be like the person that never volunteers, but you also don't want to be like the person that always volunteers and that every other of their life turns into chaos because they're always volunteering. And so you have to set a limit. You have to decide, you know what, how many hours a week can I contribute that doesn't distract me from being a good dad, that doesn't distract me from being a good employee, that doesn't distract me from being a good husband or a good provider. So all of those things are like you weigh it out. Say, okay, you know what? I have 3 hours a week. And can I take my kids with me? Even better, right? Now, but you don't say, okay, I've got 3 hours here on Monday, 3 hours there on Tuesday, 3 hours there on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And before you know it, you're burnt out. You're missing work, you're showing up late, and now you're getting a bad reputation.
So just keep in mind and stay focused that even if it's one day a week, right? Maybe you give a whole day. Maybe it's a Saturday morning and you're part of a crew.
Maybe it's an hour a week.
You know what? Start somewhere. Start somewhere. And your ROI, your investment that you're putting in there, the return of it will be huge. Guarantee you. Right?
So we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to wrap it all up for you. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
TYRO Dads will help you to see who you really are on the inside by coming to terms with your past, present, and future. You'll begin to move forward by using your time on the inside to transform yourself. We know you're not the only one serving time. Your family is too. Overcoming the issues that existed prior to and during incarceration are often more than what many families can survive. TYRO Dads has a unique method of reaching and healing families based on Ron and Catherine TYRO's own personal experiences. TYRO Dads works exclusively with incarcerated fathers who have minor children. The program lasts for 10 weeks and focuses on intensive character development. You'll be taught to take responsibility for your actions, to own it. You'll be prepared to overcome the obstacles of incarceration and transition back into your home and community, both successfully and permanently. Upon successful completion of this program, you will earn the title of TYRO, which means a warrior, someone learning something new. You will be one of the honored, a man worth following. If you think you have what it takes to be a TYRO or you want to know more, contact your local project facilitator or your institution staff.
Welcome back to TYRO TV. I'm Ron TYRO.
And I'm Cathy TYRO.
And today we've been talking about what does it mean to volunteer or to give of your time or work for free. Right?
Free. And it's one of those, it's an attribute, it's something that every successful person does. So if you really want to be successful as you transition back home, you really want to reestablish yourself in your community, it's something that you have to do. And you'll find that as you begin to do it, it's not just something you have to do, it's something you're going to want to do.
And that's really important. When you want to do this, you're going to encourage others to want to do it with you.
And especially your children.
Yep.
Dad, your kids are watching. They're watching how you're walking through life. They're watching how you either contribute value or extract value. The more that they see you add value, the more pride that they have that, wow, you know what? I'm Ron's son. I'm Blake's son. I'm Adam's son. I'm Adam's daughter. And my dad, I watched him help this person bring joy here and joy there and joy there. And you're reestablishing your reputation, not just in your community, but in your own home.
So it's important to realize that as you're doing this and as you're moving forward, keep track of what you're doing, right? And teach others on how you're doing it. So we're talking about your kids. Teach them, you know. It's one thing, you know what, so you volunteered this week, Dad, where did you go? You know what, I don't remember the name of the company. I don't even remember what the person's name was I talked to. Well, Dad, I was hoping I can go back there next week and ask if they needed some help. I don't remember the name of the person I talked to. You know, so I want to encourage you, as you're volunteering and you're doing this, document this stuff. Remember that person's name. When you see them again on the streets and say, hey, hello, Mr. So-and-so, how are you? How is the thing doing? You know, whatever it is, you know, you're becoming a professional volunteer, business person, productive citizen. These are crucial things because when you remember what you did and when you see somebody, hey, how was that thing? Whatever it is, man, it validates them. You're not only paying attention to what you're doing, you're paying attention to who's with you when you're doing it, right?
Right. And that is contributing value into individual people's lives, which is a wonderful gift and talent to have and a fantastic skill to pass on to your kids. So I hope that as we've talked today, that you've learned something or you've thought about something in a different way that's going to help you become a better dad, a better citizen, and transition home much more successfully.
So thank you for allowing us to be part of your journey today. We do hope you enjoyed the show. So until next time, always remember
That we are rooting for you.